values and human relationships. In the beginning of the movie, we see a character named Ishwar who is looking for a house to rent. He really likes the house. The broker tells Ishwar that the actual owner of the house lives in another house, and there is an elderly government employee living below Ishwar's house, who is a very nice person. Ishwar doesn't have any problems with this. After seeing and understanding everything and talking to his wife Adhika, Ishwar finalizes the house. The next day, both Ishwar and Adhika shift to the new house. Actually, Ishwar and Adhika had run away and got married, which Ishwar's family supports, but Adhika's parents don't even talk to her. Despite being pregnant, Ishwar loves Adhika a lot, and if Adhika has any trouble or needs anything, Ishwar immediately gets it for her. Now, on Adhika's request, Ishwar goes to meet the tenant who lives downstairs. There are a total of 3 people living there. Firstly, the head of the house and the eldest, Mr. Ilamparuthi. Secondly, his wife Parvati. And thirdly, their daughter Aparna. Right now, they are all sitting together and talking. So it is known from their conversation that Ishwar works in an IT company. On one side, there is Ilamparuthi, who is a little stingy but an honest government employee, and he is the executive officer in the village council. His daughter Aparna is currently studying engineering. Both families have good communication and a good relationship with each other. However, Ilamparuthi doesn't like the fact that Ishwar and Adhika are in a love marriage. The next day, Ilamparuthi sees Ishwar riding a bike. At the same time, Ishwar was also going to work. We see that Ishwar didn't even take his bike and went to his office in a cab. For now, Ishwar leaves. Then Ilamparuth's brother-in-law comes, who wants Ilamparuth's help to pass a contract for a water tank. Ilamparuthi clearly refuses to help him. Then he drops off his daughter at college and goes to his office, where another man tries to bribe Ilamparuthi to get his work done. But Ilamparuthi immediately sends him away. As time passes, both families become good friends. One day, when Ishwar had to take Adhika for a checkup, they couldn't take a cab due to a strike. Once upon a time, there was a woman named Adhika who was pregnant. She and her husband, Ishwar, needed to go somewhere, so Ishwar had to take Adhika in an auto rickshaw, a type of small car. However, the auto rickshaw was bumpy and uncomfortable for Adhika because she was pregnant. Ishwar felt bad seeing her uncomfortable, so the next day he bought a new car called an EMI car so that their baby wouldn't have any discomfort in the future. He had borrowed the car from their landlord and returned it in the night. When Ishwar came back with Adhika in the new car, he told their neighbor, Ilamparuthi, to move his bike to the side. Ilamparuthi was surprised to see the car suddenly and didn't have space for parking. So, he moved his bike a little bit aside. The next day, Parvati, Ishwar's wife, also asked Ilamparuthi to buy a new car, but he said no because he liked his bike. In the morning, he struggled to take out his bike without touching the car. Then, the next morning, when Ilamparuthi was watering the plants, he saw a lazy boy going to Ishwar's house to wash the car. His job was to come and wash the car every day. The lazy boy didn't answer Ilamparuth's questions and started washing the car. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Aparna who wanted to give coffee to her friend, but she was scared because there was a boy standing outside her house. The previous night, she couldn't park her car properly. God didn't leave enough space to take out the car, so Aparna asked God to move the car a little to the side. God immediately apologized and fixed the car. Then they both went on with their work. When Aparna came back home at night, she realized that God had already arrived. While parking her bike, she accidentally scratched the car. Aparna didn't notice the scratch. The next morning, when God found out about the scratch, he asked the boy who washes the cars if he had seen it. You see, whenever we have something new, we are afraid that something might happen to it. God also had that fear. He loved his car just like any other person who buys a new one. If you also take care of your new things, then please like the video. Now, moving forward, Aparna denies having caused the scratch, But then God notices a little bit of paint on Aparna's bike from the car. This is a story about a person named Ilamparuthi and a Ishwar-like figure named Ishwar. One day, Ilamparuthi sees that his bike has been painted by Ishwar. After seeing this, Ilamparuthi realizes his mistake. Ishwar shows a little bit of anger and tells Ilamparuthi not to be careless and to take good care of his bike. Ilamparuthi doesn't like this, and they start arguing. At first, Ishwar ignores Ilamparuth's words and goes to his office. When he comes back home, he sees that Ilamparuthi is also at the office, opening the gate to let Ishwar's car in. Ishwar sees this and apologizes to Ilamparuthi and offers him a drink. They both sit down and talk. This helps them understand each other's thoughts. For example, Ilamparuthi believes in spending less money, but Ishwar thinks the opposite. Ishwar always listens to his wife and buys everything she asks for so that she doesn't face any difficulties. Ilamparuthi says that he has a daughter and he needs to save money for her wedding. Ishwar says that there is no need to spend a lot of money on a wedding, and even a small one can be beautiful, just like his own wedding. We got married at the registrar's office, but the Ishwar of the Ilamparuthi community misunderstood this and got angry. He said, "Do you want me to marry my daughter like this too?" Ilamparuthi got mad and went back home, where his wife asked him to bring a new blender. He got even angrier and threw it away. The next day, the car wash was happening right in front of the gate, so there was no space to take out the bike. That's why Ilamparuthi asked the car wash guy to move the car, but the car wash guy ignored him. Ilamparuthi also complained to Ishwar, who hadn't forgotten about the previous night. He told Ilamparuthi that he was having breakfast and to wait a bit. Ishwar purposely took his time. Eventually, Ilamparuthi sent his bike to be moved, but by then, he had already left for his office on foot and returned home on foot at night too. Once upon a time, Ishwar didn't come on time, so a person named Ilamparuthi intentionally parked his bike in the middle. When Ishwar saw that the bike was in the way, he moved it to the side and parked his car there instead. But Ishwar didn't properly put the stand on the bike, so it fell after he left. What happened next? It was certain that there would be a commotion in the morning. Ilamparuthi started making a scene when he saw his bike fall. He said that because of a small scratch that you caused, there was already a commotion that day. And now, you knocked down my bike. What will you say about that? You could have called me to move my bike at night. Ishwar said that he didn't do it intentionally, and it was already late at night, so he thought disturbing you wouldn't be right. Ilamparuthi said that he had been living here for 10 years, so what he wants will happen. As soon as he heard this, Ishwar became angry. He said that he pays more rent than you. He won't move his car. They both start arguing about this. Seeing their fight, the landlord comes to explain to both of them and tells Ilamparuthi that the car will be parked here. It is actually a parking spot. The rest is up to both of you to adjust. Once upon a time, there was a man named Ilamparuthi who wanted to buy a mixer for his home. But instead of buying a mixer, he bought a new car and parked it outside his house. This made Parvati, Ilamparuth's wife, very angry because she had been asking for a mixer for a long time, but he bought a car instead. Later that night, when Ishwar came home and saw Ilamparuth's new car parked outside, he felt a little jealous. Even though he didn't want to, he had to park his own car outside. Parvati told him to always park his car outside. What to do? They had to adjust. But now, even Ishwar started to feel proud and arrogant. The next day, when Ilamparuthi went to his office, Ishwar quickly came from his office and parked his car first. Then that night, Ilamparuthi had to park his car outside. The next day, both Ilamparuthi and Ishwar tried to park their cars quickly. But this time, they both reached there at the same time. As Parvati opened the door, Ishwar immediately parked his car, which caused his side mirror to break. The man who was worried about a small scratch didn't care anymore after his side mirror broke. The next day, Ishwar took a step forward and stopped parking his car outside. He starts going to the office by a cab himself, and when she asks to go for more shopping, they don't have to take out the car. That's why they don't take him along, even though he bought the car for his wife. See, friends, how enmity is changing everything. He pretends to damage the Paruthi motor to get rid of Ishwar's work and gets it repaired the next day. And even though he doesn't want to, Ishwar has to take out the car. He waits for the motor to be repaired for a while, but when it doesn't, he leaves. As soon as he leaves, Paruthi goes to park his car for himself. Similarly, Ishwar also comes with his car and quickly overtakes him from the front and parks his car inside. Paruthi escapes an accident by a hair's breadth and angrily throws a stone at Ishwar's car, breaking its glass. That's it. The fight begins. This time, Ishwar and he start fighting physically. All the people in the neighborhood try to stop them, during which Paruthi says out loud that you have brought the girl by force. What respect do you have? Ishwar slaps Paruthi and humiliates her in front of everyone. Now, when someone bigger than himself raises his hand, the landlord Adhika says a lot to him. But because Ishwar made a mistake, Adhika stops talking to him. Seeing this, Ishwar decides that okay, I will go and apologize to him in the morning. And now I am looking for a new flat. I will go and shift there. But the angry Paruthi will want revenge for the slap. So he tells his brother-in-law to somehow trap Ishwar in a case so that he cannot come out. In return, he agrees to get a contract done for his brother-in-law, which he has been waiting for a long time, and his brother-in-law gives it to him. We see this dangerous idea in the next scene, that at night the police takes Ishwar away. Actually, Ishwar was thinking that Paruthi must have filed a case of assault, but he has accused Ishwar of raping his daughter. He has also provided evidence against Ishwar from his daughter. When Adhika finds out about this, she pleads with Paruthi to take back the complaint. There was a person named Paruthi who didn't get any answers from someone. They didn't show any kindness to Paruthi, even when they were in a difficult situation. Paruthi decided to send that person away from their home. But Parvati, Paruthi's mother, didn't think it was right, and she sent her daughter to bring back the complaint the next morning. The person who took the complaint back left, but Parvati's brother said some mean things to them. Parvati tried to stop him, but he didn't listen. Then, when he used the wrong words about Paruthi, Ishwar went down and punished him and his people. Parvati also chased him away and told him to never come back home. On the other hand, the police had also punished Ishwar. That's why he started parking his car outside, but he couldn't forget the embarrassment. Paruthi thought they had won, but they didn't know that Ishwar follows them to their office every day, with something on his mind. Ishwar comes to meet Paruthi at his office and says that they will definitely get an answer. After saying this, he leaves. Once upon a time, there was a person named Paruthi. One day, when he looked inside a dustbin, he found an envelope with money that Ishwar had left there. He kept the envelope on top of a fan. Since there was no electricity, the fan didn't work. Paruthi had complained to the anti-corruption Ishwar for a long time, but didn't get any help. However, when the electricity came back and the fan started working, the money fell down from the fan and Paruthi was suspended. When he heard this news, he understood that something bad would happen to him. So, he talked about leaving the house. But Ishwar somehow stopped him and said that they would empty the envelope in 2 days. The next day, Paruthi went to check the plot. Meanwhile, at night, he loosened the tire of Ishwar's car, which caused the car alarm to go off. But when Ishwar came to check, Paruthi hid, and Ishwar couldn't see him. The next day, when Ishwar took excess luggage, he had a big accident on the way because the tire came off. But Paruthi saved himself just in time. Currently, Adhika and her child are fine. At that moment, the mechanic calls Ishwar on the phone and tells him that the tire of his car was loose. When Ishwar hears this news, he understands whose fault it is. So, he goes home and starts breaking Paruthi's car. He tells everything to Parvati. Then what happened? Paruthi took the wrong step. So, Parvati takes Aparna and goes to her house. Now, Ilamparuthi is all alone. Then, after seeing a new flat, Ishwar comes to talk to him alone. He says, "Let's end what happened. I will leave from here tomorrow. Now, we won't meet each other. You go your way, and I'll go my way. If you try to stop me, it won't end well for you." As soon as he says this, Ilamparuthi breaks a glass bottle on Ishwar's head, and Ishwar faints. Aparna falls down in the house on the other side, whose water bag had burst. She wasn't moving at all. Still, she somehow calls Ishwar. Ilamparuthi picks it up, but before he can say anything, Adhika cries from the other side and tells him about her condition. After hearing this, Ilamparuthi looks up, but when he comes back to Ishwar, once upon a time, Ishwar was aware of everything that was happening. But this time, he decided to make Ilamparuthi unconscious by hitting him. He also put his phone in the oven. He closed all the windows and doors and turned on the gas so that when Ilamparuthi was not there, the fire in the phone would cause it to explode. After that, when Ishwar went home, he couldn't find Ilamparuthi. He started looking for Ishwar everywhere. His phone was broken, so he borrowed a stranger's phone to call Ilamparuthi, but someone else answered the call. Then Ishwar found out that Ilamparuthi was in the hospital and about to give birth. He rushed to the hospital and found out that Ilamparuthi had admitted an old man to the hospital before coming back. Then we see how Ilamparuthi immediately brought Adhika to the hospital and went back after admitting her. When he realizes this, Ishwar runs towards his house and quickly turns off the main power, which saves the house from catching fire. In the end, we see that Adhika gave birth to a baby, and Ilamparuthi was also admitted to the same hospital where she was hurt, but she is okay now. Parvati has also returned. Now Ishwar asks for forgiveness from them and says, "I was blind in my ego. I should have adjusted a little." Ilamparuthi also says that it's my mistake too. "I am much older than you. I should have understood. And like how I reacted, I shouldn't have reacted that way." Both of them now leave that house, and the landlord makes a new rule for new tenants that cars or any four-wheeler vehicles are not allowed here. My friends, in this way, our video today comes to an end. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you liked this story. So guys, if you liked the video, please like and comment and let us know which other movie you would like to see. And please subscribe to the channel for more videos. Turn on notifications so that you keep getting notified of new videos. Thank you.